Welcome back to another video on Rainbow Six Extraction. I want to go over the current crisis event that's going on for another 14 days. So, after 14 days, this video is going to come pretty much irrelevant here, or be irrelevant. And what it is really going over the certain challenges. I haven't completed all of them yet, but I will go over them. Nest removal, this one's actually really easy. It's just like as a squad, you take down like 80 something nests and you'll be able to unlock the rush pistol in this game. It's like a certain pistol on here that when you inject yourself, you'll get like an insane amount of movement speed and also become invulnerable for a good 10 seconds or more. And I really recommend hitting that one first and going ahead and unlocking that pistol so they're able to do the other challenges. So the other one is in the Nightmare Fog, destroy a toxic tree and extract without dispersing more than 3 hallucinations by bullets. So essentially this means is that spend as little amount of time as you possibly can inside the weird toxic fog or the Nightmare Fog. Through this, I recommend using drones, either getting your teammate or yourself to use a drone and then spot out the objective first, and then run on there with your teammates using the rush pistols to inject yourself to run over there and kind of just blitz the entire objective and wipe it out. And if you can, go to every single safe zone and then reset your toxin meter before it hits certain segments of that, because seeing it in the brain here, this one is in a Nightmare Fog, destroy toxic tree and extract without your neurotoxin level reaching the critical state. So that one's a little bit harder. So I think the critical states are the first 3 sections. So this essentially meaning is do not let your neurotoxin meter fill up to 30%, going all the way up to 100. So do not let it fill an entire section to where you'll start seeing hallucinogens. And that one's really difficult to do unless you kind of follow the same kind of setup for like drone first and then bum rush the objective. And then tree annihilation. So this one kind of got me for a little bit. I want to go over this. And it says in the Nightmare Fog, as a squad, destroy a toxic tree without weakening it. So there are 3 different objectives in this game mode. There's one normal one where it's hunt, where you'll go find 3 different Archeans and kill them, and then hunt the elite one and kill him and then move on. And then there's a second one where you're killing adherent nests, or not adherent, but what were they called? The normal ones that start spawning them like crazy, apparent or something along those lines. But they're all glowing in purple, so you'll see that. And that one normally you would want to go ahead and do and start wiping all of them out, and that's the second objective, and you move on to the third one, which is the tree. For this one, to where you're not weakening the tree, you're going to skip the entire nest objective altogether. Just don't do them, and then move on to the third one, to the tree, and you'll do that, because when you see the first 3 objectives that it gives you on the screen, it'll show you that the nests are the ones that you would have to do the weaken the tree to make it easier. And you're going to completely skip that and move on to the tree. But when doing that, that'll make it to where the tree is extremely hard to kill, or it's way harder to kill than if you were weakening it, obviously. So the best lineup for operators to make it to where that you're able to weaken the tree and have the entire onslaught of enemies attacking you at once is going as Jaeger. So his ADS devices will be able to shoot the little, I guess, energy orbs kind of going down the tendrils towards the tree to heal it. So he'll keep it at bay and make it to where that's a lot easier, giving you plenty of time and a window to open up and start destroying a bunch of tree or a bunch of the anchor points without worrying too much about them getting over to the tree all at once, so it doesn't make it to where it overwhelms you too much. The second one to run is definitely some type of defender. A lot of them are fairly low speed, but you can go with Gridlock. I recommend running her because at the end of the game there are smashers and stuff, but if you have her on level 10, the tracks do 200 damage per tick, and they will eventually break, and when they do, they'll explode. So they will do a large amount of number, or a good number, on any kind of larger Archean or alien that you're fighting, or one of the enemies. So smashers don't really stand a chance. They'll be stunned 3 times, giving you that window of opportunity, and get straight up killed. So that's a good one to run. and they're both a 3-speed. If you're using rush pistols and conserve them well, you'll be able to make it through just fine. They're fast enough to make it through the zones just fine there. And then the final third one, I recommend either going as IQ or Pulse, or actually really IQ. So IQ makes it. She's injured right now because I just tried to do an objective with her, but you'll be able to use her gadget and it'll actually spot out a bunch of the safe zones in the game, and it'll be able to see all the neurotoxin like canisters that you're able to get to where you can take down that overall, I guess, insanity meter that you'll be going with. So she is definitely a good option, and if you have her LMG at the very end, she's really good at laying down a lot of damage very quickly. I don't recommend running a suppressor, running compensator. This gun does have an odd amount of recoil, so run that. And go with explosives if you can. Field walls or really anything that you can to make it to where uh, you'll be able to defend a lot, because if you do not do the second mission on there, it'll make it to where that the tree at the very end is going to be a pain in the butt to fight, and that's why you'd want Jaeger and Gridlock to be back there, because Gridlock not only has all the defenses with her tracks, but she's also able to throw down those tracks, and the tracks will spread out across the ground, removing all the sprawl in the area. So when they are completely broken, or if they all get used up, you don't need to worry about that little section there where the enemies will um, move a little bit slower, because as you guys already know, the sprawl makes it to where the aliens or the Archeans move faster in it. So it's like the complete opposite effect that like normally razor wire would do, or the complete opposite, I guess, what it would do to you. So it speeds them up and it'll slow you down. The tracks also do slow enemies down by 75%, so it makes it to where you're using your own sprawl against them essentially, and she's really good for that. So I recommend running that. Jaeger and IQ to find all the neurotoxin stuff. If you don't want to run her and you're able to find them just fine, because they are kind of easy to find for the actual objectives areas, especially when you're droning it out, use Capiteo or anything that's able to give you any kind of stealth, or Nomad, one of the two that run faster. I recommend Capiteo. He's a 4-speed on there, so he runs fairly quickly, and he also has a semi-automatic shotgun, which is really solid to use, especially in the fog area where you have really limited vision. So I recommend running him. So this is really the trio that you want to be running, and that'll make it to where they have plenty of defenses for stealth, to stun enemies from a longer range, Jaeger to make sure the tree is kept in check and will slowly start dying over time while you guys are shooting at the weak points, and Gridlock to keep the enemies back, to give you a little bit more breathing space and to make sure that nothing really big is going to be affecting you. And that is the best advice I could possibly give you. So obviously, if you're going to be running with a bunch of randoms, this is going to be a lot harder to do, because they're all going to be trying to do the main objective. So I do highly recommend running this with friends, but sometimes you can get lucky and get a good squad like I did. We haven't actually got around to completing the tree one just yet. This is what I mean. It is going to be the hardest one to do, because you're skipping the entire mission to be doing that, and that's really the hardest part there. It's kind of like going against like the main like objective that you're supposed to be trying to do, and the game even tells you to go back and try to do it, but you want to completely skip that entirely. And of course, the last mission up here, I didn't actually mention this, is Tree Weakening. All you do is just do that mission with the actual nest, or up here at nest, and it's pretty easy. It's just like the normal green ones, but you're in the fog doing it, so it's pretty straightforward. It's nothing new. So you want to go ahead and do that one. I believe you only need to do it 3 times. You'll be able to get it, so that's nothing real bad. But the Tree Annihilation is going to be the hardest one to do, just because of that. But run this squad if you can. One guy gives you stealth, stuns them along with Gridlock to keep you, giving you a little bit more breathing space with all types of enemies, and Jaeger to help with the main objective that you guys are trying to do. And you don't need to worry about hallucinations or anything. You can do different objectives like that later on to kind of split them up. You don't need to do them all in one game. And I just want to go ahead and go over that entire deal. So run the rush pistol. Go ahead and unlock this one as soon as you possibly can. This will make it to where it is 10 times easier to do, and it's really solid to use. and get either one or two of your teammates to be running the XR recon drone. I just recommend one will do it. You'll run through and be able to complete the first objective. And you have two people using rush pistols, so you're able to get around the area way faster and knock out the objectives as fast as you can. So aside from that, guys, that's about it. So this event is going on for another 14, pretty much 15 days. Outside of that, this is going to be a pretty useless video after that whole deal is over, but it's a couple of tips that I wanted to go over if you guys are playing this game and you wanted to get a little bit of I guess tips and somewhat of tricks here to go about taking on this whole event. So aside from that, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.